Welcome to Reef Diary, day 93. So 28 days ago, I had put carbon in the system, and after a few days, it was done. And I'm finally getting around to replacing it. So here's the old carbon. And then here's some brand new carbon. I bought this giant bag of carbon from Blue Life USA probably 2 years ago. I like to buy carbon in bulk because I like to have plenty of it, so whenever I want to use some, I have it. You'd think Jack would be very interested in this bag, but she wasn't until I finally peeled it open. But it smells clean, so there's nothing for her to smell. And she walked away. I keep the bag sealed so it won't get moist, and it's been a couple of years since I've opened it because I had these jars that I fill up with carbon to the top, and then I use some from each jar as needed. Typically, half a jar fills the reactor the right amount that I need. The general rule of thumb is to use half a cup of carbon per 50 gallons. And you want to put it in a reactor, and you want to rinse it well before you put it on your system. So first I got to take out this old stuff, I got to clean it all out, and I've got to wipe it all down, and then fill it up with new carbon. Here's the old carbon. I usually dump it into a double bag and then put it in my trash so it won't leak into my trash can. And then when I've got the reactor all cleaned out, I want to push the sponge down. So I actually use a Kent scraper to make sure that sponge is all the way at the bottom plate. Then I use my handy DIY funnel, because I can't find a canning funnel whenever I think about it, and I fill it up with carbon. I didn't use an exact amount today. I just grabbed a cupful as I had that giant bag open, and I filled up all the jars, and I'm going to keep that bag closed probably for the next year probably. Whenever I add more carbon to my reactor, I always put a shot glass on top of the center tube, so that way none of this carbon gets inside there. So that's a shot glass. After I've recentered the riser tube, I'll go ahead and put in the sponge and then the perforated plate. And then I will fill this up with tap water and shake it around and rinse 3 times. Never been concerned about rinsing carbon with tap water, and I don't see the point using RODI water, so I've just always done this. I've never had a problem. Now that it's all put back together again, I set the reactor up in the sump and I add some water to give it some weight because it's going to be kind of buoyant, and that way it'll stay in place. And then I adjust the valve that controls how much water goes into the reactor. And this is actually rather fast compared to how I normally keep it. So I want to have just a trickle coming out. I mean, basically super duper slow. Maybe a gallon an hour, gallon and a half an hour. I have no way of measuring this. I just adjust the valve over and over until I get that little bit of trickle. I don't want to have it stagnant, but I also just want it to barely pass through my carbon. The next thing I needed to do today was refill my magnesium because it's all out. So I grab a couple of spoons and put them under the jar that's in the sink under the RO spigot so I can fill this up completely without having it miss the top of the jar. I just need to lean the jar back a little bit. I use Magnesium Pronto from Two Little Fishies. I've been using this for many years. And it just mixes up 10 tablespoons of this powder with 120 ounces of water. I like this spoon I got from Pampered Chef. It's the perfect size. My jar is just about full up to the line where I need it to be. And now listen to this. Did you see the smoke rising? It smells like I was playing at the gun range. So I'll stir this up. I've used a total of 10 tablespoons. And then after about 5 minutes, the water's basically clear. And in another 5 minutes, it'll be completely clear. So I'll just put it back next to the sump. I insert the tubing, the rigid tubing I have that leads to a dosing pump. And my system gets 80 milliliters a day. Finally, it was time to feed the fish. So I grabbed some Benereef, mixed it up with some tank water. I used 3 tablespoons mixed in a large cup of water. I stir it and let it turn into a nice frothy solution. And after 5 minutes, it's ready to go into the tank. I also mixed up a batch of frozen food that I thawed out, and this is what it looks like. There's mini mysis, PE mysis, krill, and some rods food all inside this bowl. And that goes into the main reef, the anemone cube, as well as the frag tank. When I add Benereef to my system, I turn off the protein skimmer and I turn off my return pump for 10 minutes. The skimmer will stay off for about an hour. And the water will be a little bit cloudy afterwards because of the bacteria, but that's completely normal. And all the corals get a chance to eat. So I filmed this one without putting the clip on my phone. But on the anemone cube, I went ahead and put the clip. So you can kind of see the corals and you can see the little bits of food floating around. And you can see the reaction in the system. The fish will eat it and the corals can inhale it. I hadn't used Benereef in probably a couple of weeks. I tend to forget. But then I was thinking, man, I keep cleaning the glass. And when you use Benereef in your tank, it makes your glass stay clean longer. And I thought, man, this would be convenient. So I need to get back to doing that. As you're looking now, you'll see the LPS corals are all closed up because they all captured some of the food. And that's it. I mean, there's no work, there's no stress, there's no effort. I just do this and then I'm done. And then I put my little cup back on top of the microwave so it's ready for tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.